next up, we've got Erica Buxton, the president of Hello Bello. Erica currently serves as the president, where she's committed to their mission of eliminating the choice of many parents have to make, deciding between what's best for their kids and best for their budget. She has also worked for the COO of Razor USA LLC and co-founder and CEO of EQtainment. It's a mouthful to say, EQtainment. We really appreciate you coming on today, Erica, and sharing your insights here.
It's great to be here.
So, let's start off with Hello Bello. It launched in 2019, correct? You're based here in Los Angeles.
Correct. Yep.
And I was just reading, you had a great year in 2021. If you can kind of tell us where you guys are at. And before we went live here, we were talking about some of your expansion prospects as well, and what you guys are doing to even go global. Is that right?
Yes. So I think one of the most exciting things we just announced is we had our grand opening of our new manufacturing facility in Waco, which will make us the first independent diaper company that has vertically integrated into manufacturing and will be manufacturing its own diapers. So exciting on a bunch of fronts to bring, more manufacturing to the US. So we've got that. And then just having more control over our supply chain, especially, with all of the supply chain issues that we're all currently facing right now. So that's been a big win for us. And we're excited to get that plant fully up and running at full capacity over the next year, which is going to be very exciting.
That's great.
And additionally, as you noted, we are expanding globally as well. So our Canadian business is doing well. We're about to launch in the UK. We're in China and Japan. We're looking to launch in Australia and India. So all over the place, which is really exciting as well.
That's great. Now you've kind of got the how you look at it, the best of both worlds or the worst of both worlds. You're online and you're retail, so you've got supply chain issues and everything as a traditional company would have. Has the pandemic affected you guys on that front? And I guess this move into the production facility in Waco is one of the potential answers to deal with supply chain issues going forward. Is that right?
That's correct. So as you mentioned, we're almost half and half D2C. We've got our diaper subscription box business, and then we also have our retail business, at Walmart and through drug and grocery and some other mass retail. So we kind of deal with it on both sides, but we have done a lot on the supply chain side of bringing most manufacturing to North America. We have diversified quite a bit with our supplier base to try to, mitigate a lot of that. And then to your point, the biggest one was really just vertically integrating and manufacturing ourselves to just give us full control over that piece of it, which is, like I said, back to our motto is, you don't have to choose between your baby and your budget. And so it's really all about providing premium products at a low cost. And so when cost is so critical, having control over that supply chain is even more critical.
Yeah. That's great. So as a retail company, what are your primary concerns going into 2022? And I guess in a way too, you guys had a great 2021. Did the pandemic help you guys, hurt you guys? And what are you looking at going forward?
Yeah, I think it helped for sure. People, especially our D2C business, as people were looking to buy more online, having that diaper subscription business was very key. I think as we look to the future, it's really about where does that business shift? Like, do people shift from D2C to retail? And how do we, have our products where people are going to shop? And so really trying to predict what those trends look like, where people are going to want to shop, what they're going to want to buy in those channels, and make sure we have the right products in the right channels for those consumers.
Yeah. And have you noticed, and actually just speaking out of my personal, my family's approached the pandemic, get groceries delivered. I never did that before. And now it's so easy. I think it's going to be something that we don't give up going forward. And same day delivery is just awesome. Have you seen any changes? Have you guys noticed any changes with your customers on ordering and how you're approaching your customers on that front?
Yeah, no, our D2C business has definitely grown and continues to grow, which is, I think, to your point, a reflection of a lot of those trends. It's funny you say grocery delivery. Instacart, I think, has come up on almost every conversation I've had recently on how how do you be more prominent there as a supplier. So it's interesting that one keeps coming up. But
Okay.
it is interesting because our retail business is also growing. So I think, you're seeing it on both fronts, but a lot of it is because those mass retailers are integrating to that delivery service too. So I think as we look at it a little bit, one of the things we're trying to figure out is how do you, for those people buying on Instacart or buying on, the apps of the various mass retailers, like how are we top of that, screen that people are purchasing our products because you don't have the in-store shelf to look at. So it's trying to adapt to purchasing behaviors and making sure, as new moms are coming into that and how they're buying, making sure they see our products.
Yeah. No, and I can only imagine that makes your job really difficult because now you've got to manage the in-store sales and you've got to be a retail company and an online company, right?
Yes. And you
Well,
got to
and
keep
now a
everybody happy.
third-party delivery, you got to manage third-party delivery relationships too.
I spend a lot of time on the phone with FedEx, which, yeah, I mean, I think when you look at those types of services, FedEx and UPS have been really strained with the current environment and delivery. And to your point, people want everything, as soon as possible. So that's a challenge we deal with on a daily basis, is trying to work with those partners to get our products where they need to go as quickly as possible.
Okay. So, going into 2022, in terms of startup, and I guess you guys are relatively new. I know you're doing, you're probably not in the startup. You're doing a lot of revenue in terms of startup, but it's just being launched in 2019. I'd still consider you guys a startup. But for other startup companies coming into 2022, what do you think? What are the opportunities, and what areas do you like as well? Based on your experience, for online retail or even outside of what area you've been involved with. And as Nolan was talking about the NFTs and anything like that, you have any thoughts on opportunities that entrepreneurs should be looking at going into 2022?
Yeah, I mean, I do think there is a lot. I mean, kind of what you're talking about, this online shopping to delivery services, the Instacarts of the world. And I think you're seeing a lot more of those pop up. And I think it's going to be interesting to see as that basically shopping trend expands, like what companies can do in that space. Because I think it's grown really fast. And I don't know that we've really caught up on the technology side as well as we can. So I think there's some definite opportunities there as shopping habits evolve, and as we come out of the pandemic and see where that goes. But it's something we're definitely looking at, is how we, truly become omni-channel and what that means for us in the future. So I think that's going to be a really big play going forward as we kind of go from a lot more e-commerce to kind of get back to more of a normalization of what that shopping pattern looks like.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think there's going to be a return to retail in store, or do you think this online shopping is just going to stay and become a huge component going forward?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing increased retail traffic. So I think you are seeing that. But it's just a matter of, are they doing that to supplement what they're buying online, or is that going to become a primary, purchasing location as well? And I don't know the answer to that. And I think that's what we're trying to figure out. So it'll be it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. And like I said, we're trying to just prepare ourselves for both fronts.
Yeah.
So that we're ready to grow on both channels.
Yep, that's great. And then, what was the biggest challenge you had in 2021 that you guys learned out of the pandemic?
Supply chain by far has been, I spend probably half my day, almost even now, on supply chain issues and working through those. And, I think we're finally starting to emerge from the daily fire drills, which is exciting, but a lot of it has been around just, supplier diversification. We've reformulated products. We've changed where our warehouses are located. There's a lot of work that's gone into it, which I'm hoping will set us up really well for the future. But I predict that that's going to continue into 2022, and there's going to continue to be more and more supply chain issues with various things. So we're continuing to kind of prepare ourselves for what those might be and how to prep for it. But I think it's not going away in the near term.
Okay. And you know what, being an employment lawyer, I've got a lot of clients hearing about the labor shortage. Has that impacted you guys at all? Have you felt that as well?
Yes, no, 100%. I think, the upside of it is being with virtual, work and that we've been able to expand geographically on where we hire. But specifically in Waco, we're hiring, over 100 people probably in the next year, and it's been really challenging, especially as there's been you've seen Elon Musk moving companies there,
Mhm.
Amazon's opening a warehouse there. It's just been a really big growth center to compete for talent there. So we are definitely seeing that. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think of that, but you're right. There's a lot of companies moving to Texas. There's
Waco is a happening place right now.
yeah, yeah. I didn't think of that, but yeah, you're competing for that talent, and that's interesting. But yeah, how are you guys approaching that? Is it any trick to that, or what are your thoughts on and I, across the board, our clients, we've got a lot of clients in the restaurant industry too, facing this issue, and yeah, that's the big question: is how do you approach that? Retain employees longer has been one solution I've heard, but any insights on that front?
Yeah, and it's funny, we were just having a conversation about this yesterday, but one big thing is culture. If you drive by our building in Waco, I wish I had a picture of it here to pull up, but it is reflects our company 100%. It's painted in our colors. You can't miss it. So one, just trying to reflect kind of who we are as a brand in our culture and make it a fun place to work. And then two, it's also trying to find, I think what we found as a startup, we can't compete with Amazon and, what they're offering and signing bonuses and things like that. And so trying to find other unique ways that we can, like we have a store at our Waco site. So what can we utilize that for employees to kind of help
Hmm.
as added bonuses? So that's one example, but trying to find more unique offerings that we can have as an employer and just be a fun place to work that reflects our brand.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then you guys are based in Los Angeles. You've got offices here in Los Angeles, and then also in Waco now, the production facility. Anywhere else? Have you adapted remote work for the workforce as well?
Yep. No, I mean, most of my executive team is spread out across the country. We do have an office up in Canada now as well, but most of my team is kind of spread out across the country. We've actually hired for talent more so than location, which has
Okay.
been, I think, an upside of the pandemic.
Great. Yeah, no, that's been, yeah, a lot of people adopted to the remote work very quickly. And it's been super efficient, at least for me too. Great. And then just last minute or two here, I wanted to get your thoughts on, any insights you have to aspiring entrepreneurs, young or old, if they're looking to start a company or get into a new industry. Do you have any concerns for 2022? Do you have any issues that you think are really positive for startups coming into 2022?
Yeah, no, I think actually Nolan highlighted some of what I would say here too on the funding sources. I think there's some momentum going in at the beginning of 2022 around that. I do, similar to him, wonder where that starts to taper off a bit. And I think the second one, which is, we've also talked about, is just supply chain. So as you're launching, like make sure that you have a product that you can actually manufacture for launch, because I've talked to a couple other people specifically that had aluminum as a raw material that's really hindered some of their startup scaling. So really looking at those supply chain and raw material issues and making sure that your timeline of startup and launch and everything reflects the reality of what supply chain is right now.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's great. Well, I really appreciate you coming on to the webinar and sharing your insights. And I know you're super busy, so appreciate you doing this, and wish you the best going into 2022.
Thank you.
Yep. See ya.